Karamo airs weekdays at 1 here on the station that's all good, AZTV 7. And the new season of Karamo has started this past Monday. So I talked with Karamo himself about what you can expect from his show for the rest of the fall. Good morning, Karamo. How you doing?
I'm good, my friend. How are you doing?
Well, I'm very excited because we have a new season of Karamo here on AZTV 7, and I understand it's going to be a lot dicier. It's going to be a lot more digging deep into helping people. So let's talk first. How was your break first? How was your break?
I worked the entire break. I'm one of those guys right now where, like, I got the strength, so I want to make sure that I'm working my butt off. So I didn't really have a break. And I actually didn't mind because, you know, like I plan on when I get into retirement age, I'm a break. I'm gonna be on somebody's beach with a cocktail every day. So
yeah, I like that. And that's the thing about your show is that you're helping people, making sure that they don't get a break from improving their lives. So let's talk about the new season.
Yeah, the new season is great. Our theme for this season is one that I came up with. It was embracing the mess, because I feel like there's a stigma around, you know, when people have mess in their lives. It's like we want to stay quiet. You got to hide it. Like I grew up in a household where it's like what happens in this house stays in this house, and I think there's something unhealthy about that, because when people on my show bring their real emotions, they bring their authentic truth, you know, and they show who they are, it helps everyone at home know that they're not alone and that they can like say, oh, this is something that I'm dealing with. Oh, that's my mom. That's my aunt. That's my boyfriend. And then once they recognize themselves, because my guests are not afraid of their mess, then I help them clean it up and give them some tools so they can have the first step to a breakthrough. And so we're amping up all of that. We're amping up everything, whether it comes from the paternity outcomes, whether it comes from me unlocking phones, whether it comes from the families in crisis. We're amping up the mess and we're amping up the breakthroughs, and it is entertaining. We've already shot like 3 weeks of shows, and they're good. And I'm saying it's like, dust the dirt off my shoulder. I'm proud of them. They're good.
I like that. You know, you talk about people cleaning up their mess. Isn't it very interesting that people will discuss their mess on social media, but not with the people they need to discuss with? And I think that's something that you want them to do. It's like, stop doing it on social media and do it with the person, because that's going to clean it up. Am I right?
Exactly. You know what I mean? We've gotten to a place where we're sort of deflecting and not actually confronting what we need to. And so for me, it's like, confront it. Like, talk about it. Bring it up. Like, stop, you know, like at family gatherings, I'm so tired of like that one aunt or that one person not being invited because we're scared they're going to ruin it. The reason that they're afraid they're going to ruin it is because no one has helped them to confront what's going on. No one's having a real conversation with them. And so on my show, I give you the tools on how to have that, how to set the boundaries, how to get the conversation started. And so when people see my show, they're like, oh, this is practical. I can use this in my real life. And so it's been really great, because the more that people can do that, the better off their lives are going to be.
Yeah. Let's talk about Unlock the Phone, because this is very interesting that people think that you're trying to put someone on blast about their phone, but really you're helping the person who's worried about what's going on the phone. I don't think people realize that, and that's something that you also want to say, listen, I'm going to lock this phone to give you comfort, and that's important to you, isn't it?
It's very important. I'm all about facts over feelings. And so if you're in a relationship where you feel like it's unhealthy or toxic and you have suspicions, let's get the facts. Or you want to know if they're talking to somebody, you want to know if they're really going to work, you want to know if they're really at home, you want to know if they're sending photos. These are facts. These are not feelings anymore. These are like, let's give you what you need. And so therefore now you know what you're dealing with, and then we can have a conversation about what's next. Because too often people are like, oh, I don't know, I think and then they start all these other issues in a relationship when they don't really have the fact of what's going on. And so I unlock the phone to say, oh, you want to know where he's at? Here it was. I pinned all his locations. You want to know who he was talking to on the texts and DMs? Here it goes. And I do that with, you know, I have a former FBI agent who's on my staff who's been with us since season 1, and he can find anything on the phone, and he can also find stuff that's been deleted up to 5 years. And so it helps someone say, oh, I get it. Oh, she was doing this. He was doing this. My child was doing that. And then we start the conversation and have the breakthrough.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Again, the mess, and then we do the breakthrough.
There it is. Karamo, I have to say this, is that you are not a person that's just there talking the talk. You've actually walked the walk of some of these people's mess, and that's one reason why it's so important. And you're not, you know, some of the things they've been through. They're like, well, you don't understand, Karamo, because you're on TV. You've done this. Like, no, you have to understand. before I got here, I had to clean up my mess. And that's what the big thing is, right?
Exactly it. Like, I've never had a guest sit in front of me that I didn't understand. You know, last week, Friday, we had a woman who was sitting in front of me, and she was basically in an abusive relationship. And I had to help her to identify that like, you're in an abusive relationship physically and emotionally, and you're trying to ignore it. And I said, I know this is because I've been in a physically abusive relationship. My mother was also in a physically abusive relationship, my father. And I guided her to get out of it, and I support people all the time. When we talk about paternity outcomes, you know this, I've told you this before, Brad. I didn't find out about my son until he was 10 years old. A girl that I talked to when I was 15 popped up and was like, you got a kid. And I'm like, so when guests in front of me, they're like, you don't know what it's like. I'm like, oh, yes, I do. And then also how to co-parent with a woman that you don't want to talk to anymore. Like, these are things that I had to learn. You know, season 1, my son came on the show and he was very transparent about the fact that he had a drug addiction in 2020. And we helped him through. He's been sober for 3 years now. I'm so proud of him. But I'm letting people know, like, you see me on this show, you would think, oh, his life is perfect. There's no way his child had an addiction.
Yeah.
And yes, it happened in my life. It happened to my own son. And I figured out how to clean up the mess so that he can be better. And so my guests know when they talk to me, there's no judgment. I see them, they see me, and I'm gonna help them through it.
There it is. We just had more than a Karamo Minute. We had a lot there to talk about. Karamo, thank you for joining us. And remember, you can catch Karamo right here on AZTV 7 weekdays, Monday through Friday. So, Karamo, thank you very much and have a great season.
Brad, I love you, man. Thank you so much for all the support.